Hi, I just wanted to talk with you a little bit about the first portfolio. Remember, we spoke previously about how our purpose in the first project or first portfolio is workplace literacy, finding out a little bit about the kinds of reading and writing that you're going to be doing in the workplace. Now, some of the readings have talked about email and various other things, and I've also talked with you a little bit about how the most important or key characteristic of workplace writing, at least that I've experienced, has been that it's kind of the opposite of academic writing, and that you lead with your conclusions first. But the purpose of this first portfolio is to help you get familiar with the kinds of writing that you're going to be doing. And I have had a chance to read some of your autobiographies, and we have aspiring technical writers, we have aspiring veterinarians, we have people who are interested in law enforcement, people who are interested in being teachers, a wide variety of the careers, each of which has their own kind of writing that you do. And so what we want to do first is to interview someone who works in the field. Now, it's really not that hard to find someone to interview. You just need to be a little bit diligent, call around, not be too nervous about calling people that you don't know, and arrange a time to meet with them. It's obviously best to meet in person, but I realize sometimes it's not possible. A phone call, a Skype interview is okay. A little bit less good interview if you do email a series of questions, but that could work if you can't make it any other way. But again, you want to find out a little bit about the career that you want to do, and then you want to really kind of focus in a fair amount also on the kinds of reading and writing that they do. So then you're going to write up a profile of that person based on the interview that you do. So that's going to be your writing profile, your interview profile of that person. While you interview them, you want to get some examples of the kinds of writing that they do. You can usually do that. Sometimes, if there's law enforcement involved, cases will be confidential. You'll either have to get redacted material, in other words, things that they've written that have personal information taken out, and in a very few cases, like for example, a child protective officer, all the information is confidential. And so what you would have to do is you would have to get copies of the kinds of stuff they would write. And if they can't share things that they shared with you, and of course this is all information that's going to stay confidential within the confines of the course. It's not as if we're going to shoot it all over the internet. But if they can't give you copies of the things they've written, ask them to direct you to examples of things that are like what they write. So you're going to have the interview, which you're going to write up. Then you're going to have copies of their writing. And then you're going to try to write in the style that they're writing. If you're writing a police report, make up a hypothetical scenario. Can't tell you how many times I've been arrested in people's police reports that they write for this course over the years. Or if it's a treatment plan for a patient, write up a treatment plan. Again, try to write in the manner and in the style, doing the kinds of writing that they would do. So your portfolio is going to include your writing portfolio. It's going to include the documents that they have written. It's going to include your copies of the documents that they've written. It will include the interview questions that you created. And then once you have everything put together, you're going to write an introductory memo in which you introduce each of the parts of your portfolio, and you're going to talk about what you learned from doing that portfolio. You're going to write that at the very last, but then it's going to come at the very first part of your portfolio. It's going to be the first thing that's turned in. So what will happen is you'll conduct the interview. You'll write up a rough draft of the interview. That will be peer reviewed or read by other classmates. Then you'll revise based on those comments. And then after that, you'll write up copies of your career documents or writing in the style that they do. That will also be peer reviewed, and you'll revise those. Then at the very end, You're going to collect everything in the portfolio under one document, and then you'll submit it on Blackboard as one document in your portfolio as one. If you have any questions, let me know. It's a pretty straightforward assignment. It's a lot of steps, but the key things are making the effort to find someone that you can interview pretty quickly. Better not to do family members, better not to do professors, because family members, people will often say, well, you know what I do, and they'll give you less full answers because they will assume that you know things about their work life that you don't actually know. And professors, well, unless your professor is a part-timer who actually does the job in the community full-time, probably you're going to get a better gauge of what somebody who works in the field does, in your career field does, by actually talking to someone rather than a professor. I'm not knocking professors, but being a professor is a specific job that's a little bit different than whatever your career field is, unless you want to be a professor. Looking forward to seeing your work. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.